All right, and hello everybody. We are finally back after. Oh my God. Okay, we are finally back. Why is it echoing? You hear that?
Nah, not really. It sounds all right.
That sounds so weird. Why is it? Oh, it's because I got it up on my computer. All right, there we go. All right, so what is going on, everybody? We're back after a very, very long awaited time. There's me. There's Chris right here. Chris is a part-time streamer now. And Dylan is a full-time Best Buy worker now, so he's got shit going on too. But we're back now. We're here to talk about loads of shit happening. Chris, man, I know you've been on Twitch recently. Are you coming back soon for your part-time job on Twitch?
Hey, yeah, man. Look, man. I'm in my senior year of high school. If y'all niggas don't know, so like basically, I just been getting really busy. You know what I'm saying? I gotta graduate, man. I'm not coming back to school after this year, so I'm just trying to finish high school. But I will be back on Twitch pretty soon, probably after graduation.
Right. All right. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. That's good. Are you playing? Are you playing college ball at all or no?
Nah, my football day's over though, bro. Trust.
Yeah, yeah. Well, dude, Washington Commanders need a lot of help, so we really might need you to come and play, man. I don't know. So today we're gonna be breaking it down. We're gonna break down the Super Bowl. We're gonna break down a lot of some of NBA, some of the draft, some of the head coaching hires. Since all three of us are on here, Washington Titan fan, we have new head coaches, so it's gonna be good to take a nice little deep dive into the head coaches. What up, Carson? What up, Nate? Thanks, you guys are all joining. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. So, Chris, do you want to jump into the topic for the first topic of the day? All right, let's do it. So, first topic of the day, we will be talking about Super Bowl 58. Now, this Super Bowl had a lot of why am I doing this? The hell? Okay. It had a lot of it was a very Chris, let's just get to your thoughts first. What did you think about the Super Bowl? What did you think about it as a whole, and just overall what you think?
It was definitely so. If y'all don't know, but we have our own little group chat. You know what I'm saying? Most of the group chat was going for the 49ers. Now, and that's simply just because like a lot of people just don't like to see greatness when it comes to football, bro. As soon as the team gets to winning a lot, just like the Patriots, niggas gonna start hating though.
Yeah.
And they don't want that team to win anymore, which is understandable. But I do gotta go for Mahomes. I don't know. He's just pretty likable for me. Like a lot of people just hate him. I was going for the Mahomes and them. They won. That was great. We did go 0 for 1,000. I mean, 1 for 1,000 on parlays. That was great. But other than that, nah, it was a great Super Bowl. It was definitely one of the best Super Bowls. It was a slow start to the Super Bowl, but it definitely was a great ending, and I liked the ending. And it went well. I'm glad that Brock Purdy did not win. We do not have to hear niggas talk about Brock Purdy being a top 5 quarterback. So.
Right. All right. So going out kind of off of me, my reaction. So obviously I was I was rooting for Purdy. I was one of the people in the group chat rooting for Purdy, rooting for Debo, all them. I mean, I was rooting for the fact just to see Chase Young get a ring, man. You had to see it. And Kyle Shanahan, Trent Williams, after Trent's had a Hall of Fame career being a left tackle, premier left tackle in the NFL. It's something that you really wanted to see happen. Unfortunately, they fell short again. It's something we're going to talk about it, but it's something that, we really need to look at when it comes down to Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers being ran. It was just a great Super Bowl and all in all, that first half I almost fell asleep. I ain't gonna lie to you. After that first half, dude, it's just like, after that first half, but then being down 10-0, bro, it's just like I just didn't like Kyle Shanahan has to be down at least 40 to make me feel like he's comfortable enough to win a Super Bowl or even win a game.
Not to even cut you off, but like I'm not gonna lie, like like you said, like it definitely was a slow start. But when they was down 10, like I even told my friends in my other group chat, like my friends from real life, I was like, it was never a point in the game where I felt like, dang, the Chiefs just don't have nothing to come back. Like it was always like you could feel the comeback was coming. So you know what I'm saying? Like they was always in the game. So I was really surprised when they came back at the end. I told them.
Yeah, no, real quick, shout out Dennis, dude. Dennis, I did talk to you, man. It's for Washington when we do me, you, and Chris. We'll talk afterwards for sure. Me and Chris. Chris said you're a funny dude, so I'll take his word for it, I guess. I'll take his word for it. But yeah, no, then going on to the Super Bowl, man, it was great. Halftime show was um I really don't even know how to say what the halftime show was. I felt like we was being seduced over the live TV, man. Usher over here with Alicia Keys. While Alicia Keys is married, by the way. Um that's really I was just shocked, I couldn't believe what was going on during that. But Mahomes did it again. That overtime rule. I don't know if you saw the report. I think you did. We sent it in earlier of the Kansas City Chiefs not the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers not knowing the overtime playoff rules and that they should have probably went for tails instead of going for heads.
Right.
Do you think that outcome for the Niners would have changed?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought I heard that. I don't really remember, but I'm pretty. Did they not win the coin toss though?
They
Or
did. I believe. Did I don't know if who won what, but
I'm pretty sure. I think I was watching the TikTok. I think it was Elite Takes on TikTok. He was like, they chose to get the ball.
Mhm.
Now they claim they didn't know the overtime rules, which they might not. But I feel like at the end of the day, bro, you kick 3, bro. You was bound to lose regardless, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I mean, I think this was the first game that the overtime rules were implemented, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they get the ball back, they easily if they started off on defense, I think they most likely would have probably came back and we would have seen a double OT. Who knows? It's in the past now. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes winning Super Bowl MVP. A lot of people were saying that he shouldn't have won it, though. A lot of people were saying McDuffie should have gotten it. You think Trent McDuffie should have maybe gotten it?
I mean, everything in this league is quarterback biased, so he was bound to win it always. I do think McDuffie definitely had a strong case for it. McDuffie played out of his mind. The whole Chiefs defense played out of their mind. So I would have been fine, definitely fine if McDuffie got it, but Mahomes needed it. It's gonna matter more and for his resume in the future. So
yeah. It'll matter more for when we're sitting here 10 years from now trying to debate whether Mahomes is better than Brady or whatever. So now going on to, obviously Kansas City wins 3. They've won now 3 Super Bowls in 4 years or 5 years. I don't know what the exact number is. They get Kelsey back, pretty sure, and they got Andy Reid back. Do you see them? Obviously, Kansas City is a clear favorite for next year. Do you see them back?
Do I see them going back, winning the next Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I think honestly, it really just depends on where the NFL want to go. I know a lot of niggas make fun of the jokes with the script thingy. I actually do think I'm not gonna say there's a full script because it's just too much to hide from everybody. But bro, it definitely has to be something that keeps them in it, bro. Because it's just it depends where they want to go with it. Basically, is my point. It's do you want Mahomes to be the first quarterback to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, or do you not? You know what I'm saying? Do you want him to surpass everybody else? And I think they do want him to surpass everybody else. I just don't know how early they want him to do it in his career. So we'll see.
Oh, no, I agree. I think winning 3 in a row is going to obviously be it's something very difficult to do. Number one, it's so difficult. I mean, them even going back to back was even, that's still shocking. Trying to sit here and figure out to really wrap my head around the fact, can a team like the Chiefs for the first time since Brady win 3 in a row? I don't know, because I do think they're gonna lose key defensive players. I mean, we all know Chris Jones is their biggest question mark in the offseason. Now, depending on who they're going to get for Chris, if they're going to even pay Chris Jones, if they even have the money to pay Chris Jones, we're going to have to look back at that in a later episode. It's going to be really interesting to see. What I'm also curious to see, too, is if they're going to give Mahomes a wideout. Well, not a wideout, but if they're going to go after a guy like a Mike Evans in free agency, a Brandon Ayuk in free agency, and to build around him even more, because, Kelsey's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. So now, after winning this Super Bowl, where is Patrick Mahomes all time?
Nah, I'm not going to lie, bro. It's a lot of, I'm not going to lie, though, bro. This is a hot take. I'm not going to act like this isn't hot. But if we're going based off best quarterback, playing the quarterback, if you're a person that has actually played football, bro, that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback we have ever seen, bro, ever, bro. He's literally Aaron Rodgers. And nobody can disagree that Aaron Rodgers is more talented, like physically talented than Tom Brady, bro. He's Aaron Rodgers times like at least 2, bro. Right. And that being said, I feel like Mahomes is the most talented quarterback all time easily, and he's the best quarterback like as a football player. Now, Tom Brady has the mental aspect of the game, bro, but I feel like they all have, like, every quarterback has to have the mental aspect of the game or they wouldn't be NFL quarterbacks at the end of the day. So it's like, bro, and they both great winners, bro. But if we talking about NFL player, like quarterback at the quarterback position, throwing the ball all around, just quarterback, I feel like Mahomes is already the best quarterback we've ever seen just off of what he's done. He's doing it in such a small time. It's just all about greatness, bro. Now it's all about greatness. Like now Tom Brady has 7, he got to go get 8. You know what I'm saying? The old heads to get off his back.
Yeah. So for me ranking Patrick Mahomes is I find it's ranking quarterbacks in the modern day as of right now is people put so much on like how a guy gets ranked on nowadays, like who's top 5, what is the credibility to be top 5. My personal take is that I don't believe that Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 QB all time. I just don't. I just think that we're going off of his whole career. You're looking at his MVPs, wonderful, but when you look at him in the postseason, dude, his personality and his just the way what happens to him in a postseason reminds me just of the Cowboys. And that's not even a shot at Dallas, but I'm not if the 0-17 Browns are playing Aaron Rodgers in a playoff series, I would take the 0-17 Browns to beat Aaron Rodgers. And that sounds messed up to say, but it's just that Aaron Rodgers come playoff time, non-existent. So now going back to Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes has solidified himself as one of the greatest. He's one of the most dynamic and athletic quarterbacks to ever exist. And his frame, his body frame, I know we saw earlier in the Super Bowl week, his body frame, he looks like he's a little big, but he was their leading rusher in that Super Bowl. Not Pacheco, not McKinnon, not anyone. It was, on 9 rushes, Mahomes ran for 66 yards. The dude is phenomenal. The dude, it's like when you watch Brady and you're sitting there saying, man, dude, like we're up 3, like we're going to win this game with like 45 seconds left. And then you see Brady get the ball and then Brady goes down and scores. That's what I see out of Mahomes is I see the greatness. I see the physique. I see what he does. I mean, the dude works with 3rd-round pick wide receivers and one of the greatest tight ends of all time, and he makes it work. I mean, it just it astonishes me what Patrick Mahomes does on a football field. It's phenomenal. Now, where I rank him, he's creeping up on top 5, maybe 5 right now. Number 1, like right now, still Tom Brady. 2, for me, it's Montana. Then 3 is Peyton Manning. Then 4 could be like Marino. It could be Drew Brees. It could be really those gunslinger guys that really succeeded. And then there's Mahomes. Right. So, but it's just about longevity and how long Mahomes can dominate in the NFL. End of story.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, people gonna be like, oh well, he hasn't done as much. He still has to accomplish more. But it's like, bro, if you going off that, you gotta at least say he's better than Eli Manning. He's already, like, come on. I mean, not Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. Because look at it like this, bro. He's already accomplished more in the playoffs than Peyton Manning. So if you're gonna say if we're going off straight accomplishments, bro, come on, bro. You gonna
shit? You could say Peyton. You could say Peyton and Eli in the same sentence with that too. But no, for sure. Like I said, 5 is probably the right spot for him at the moment. 5 or 6, depending on McKenna. Depending on what's how you rank a quarterback. So now going on to San Francisco, because this is something we got to talk about, man. What do they do now? What, as a team, what does San Francisco have to do to just win? Not 0, not even just not win 5 more, but just to win 1 fucking Lombardi trophy. 1. What do they look like? Let's look back at the track history for San Fran. In 2020, they lose. They lost the Super Bowl up by 10. They go on to the championship NFC title game against the Rams. They lost, which was kind of a bailout and they probably shouldn't have been there either. And then NFC title game again last year. Brock Purdy gets Tommy John. And here we are in the Super Bowl, and they are up 10 at half. And then we all know what happens next. What does San Francisco have to do to get over the hump?
I think it's simple, bro. Don't run into Patrick Mahomes. And nigga, you might think that's a joke, but that's actually serious. But I really feel like through the 49ers were the best team in football. It's just they didn't have Patrick Mahomes. It's simple, bro. You don't have Patrick Mahomes, you got Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's easier said than done to get a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. They have everything except Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. I think the 49ers, if another team in the AFC can eliminate the Kansas City Chiefs for them, and they get to play another team in the Super Bowl, I feel like they'll actually finally win the Super Bowl. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. But the thing about San Francisco now is they have so many players up for contract, and now it's going to get tight. You got Brandon Ayuk up for contract, one of the big ones. Mm-hmm. That's tough, but because Brandon Ayuk has become their number one receiver now, so they got players that they got to pay now. So it's time for to pull out the paychecks. So it's tough.
Yeah, that we'll get to also, because I didn't even have that in my notes because of how recent it was. Okay, don't. Yeah, so going to what you said. Do they? I know this is stupid. Okay, all right. So now we're bringing on Dylan. Dylan, chasing rings. Dylan W. James Walker.
What up? What up?
So Dylan, we are now on the topic of discussion of what does San Francisco have to do to just stay in a goddamn Super Bowl and maybe win one. You know, it doesn't hurt to win one for them. You know.
So it's a good question. So San Francisco's kind of in the same spot I would feel like Buffalo's been in for a few years. I know Buffalo hasn't gone to a Super Bowl, but it's kind of that same spot where like they have a really good offensive defense. What's his mouth?
No, I'm just like they've been in that position for almost 30 years.
Yeah, so they always statistically have a really good offense, a really good defense. I've been saying for a few years, and I'm kind of on this train now. I think, especially Steve Wilkes firing today, by the way, god awful.
Yeah, we'll get into
why
that.
would you do that? We can talk about that in a second.
Yeah,
I'm already putting my preview. That was stupid. Yeah. So in all reality, I think it comes down to the same thing with Buffalo that I say. Sean McDermott should have been fired a while ago, and I think Kyle Shanahan is just not that level. I think he should be fired. Now I know it's like he's a really good coach, but I feel like at this point, right? Because here's why. You could always argue for the past 2 to 3 years, San Francisco had the most talented roster in the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. Or one of them. Mm-hmm. Now, unless you're going to say we need an A, what the fuck?
Just keep doing it.
Unless you're going to say we need an A+ quarterback, which you could argue. That's the only other thing. You have get a better quarterback, replace your head coach. You always have a good defense. You have amazing skill positions. You have an amazing offensive line, Davey. So, I mean, at that point, you're either get a new head coach, get an A+ quarterback. And what it sounds like is Kyle Shanahan's locked in on Brock Purdy. So that would be my iffy for him. But I mean, if he's cool to get rid of Brock Purdy, I think you do that. I get he's been good, but you have to get over that hump somehow. And it's either get rid of Kyle Shanahan or get a better quarterback.
Right. My bad, Chris.
I know this is not a debating show, so we're not here to argue. But look, though, I just feel like with this being said, it's like you got Brock Purdy, obviously. I feel like I'm not the biggest fan of Brock Purdy. Never have been. I've always thought that they should have actually went with the more talented quarterback in Trey Lance. But bro, just like the Steve Wilkes firing, you can't just scapegoat anybody, bro. I may be wrong, bro. If somebody can tell me what Kyle Shanahan did to lose the game single-handedly against the Chiefs, then I'll admit I'm wrong and that they should get rid of him. But I feel like you just going ahead and scapegoating anybody. I feel like they just ran into the wrong guy, bro.
So here's what I'll ask, right? I mean, here's the question. So for Steve Wilkes, right? He was fired. They're going to say he was fired because the defense was not what they wanted it to be, right? Maybe he wanted some more turnover, something like that. Right. Every single offseason, when a team's, and we both of our teams have been doing this. Kyle Shanahan was inconsistent in that Super Bowl. I agree. So every single offseason, when a team loses, like last 3 years for us, I know you guys have been going through it too. Every year when the offense is bad, we say, get the offensive coordinator out of there, right? When you have a head coach like Kyle Shanahan who calls the plays, when are we going to start holding him accountable for his offense being inconsistent? We can't just scapegoat the offensive coordinator like we can with every other team. But for some reason, for guys like him, when his offense only puts up 19 points in the Super Bowl, when, to be fair, while the Chiefs' defense is good, let's not act like they were the superiorly more talented team on offense compared to defense. Like, let's be for like their offensive mismatches. Now, the corners for the Chiefs played ridiculous. Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed, insane plays from them all game. Exactly. But my thing just for that is like, I think, do they need a better quarterback? Yes. Another thing you could talk about Kyle Shanahan is, though, not to keep on rambling, is this dude can't manage a quarterback to save his life. So a few years ago, you took Solomon Thomas over Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Then you said, well, we're going to do that because we think next year's quarterback free agency is really good, which they were aiming for Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Before free agency hit, they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. Then it's rumored they wanted, or it's actually kind of confirmed, Shanahan wanted Mac Jones over Trey Lance. And the second Brock Purdy's showing something in camp, now clips have come out of him saying, oh, our best quarterback's on the team. Yeah, so it's like, you don't want a good quarterback. You want a game manager.
Yeah, that's true, bro. Kyle Shanahan does get a lot of slack that a lot of other offensive callers doesn't get. But I really do believe, like, bro, his system's just too good, though. It's just like, he chokes when he gets there. But at the same time, bro, a lot of the reason that they got there in the first place is him, bro. So it's like, bro, there's not many guys that can take Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy to the Super Bowl. That's my point. But
true.
Yeah. I do agree with Dylan though.
One question to always ask with that too, right? Is it's always a concern of, so you have a really talented team, and I remember hearing this when we fired Vrabel, right? When you fire a really good or a good to really good head coach, it's likely you get a worse head coach when you hire somebody else. So it's likely if you fire Shanahan, you're probably not going to get that. But here's the question you have to ask for your San Fran front office. Would you, A, risk hiring an even better coach or a significantly worse coach, or B, probably waste every player in your team's prime and not win a ring? Because, I mean, the way they're looking right now, they're not going to win a ring. Like, they've been here.
I feel like you got to risk Brock Purdy first, though, bro. You got to risk it. You got to risk it with getting a new quarterback instead of Brock Purdy before you risk it with Kyle Shanahan. I think it's more
Kyle Shanahan going to do it, though.
They get a better quarterback than they find a better head coach than Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I mean, going off of what both of you said, it's a little bit of both. I do think that a little bit could be said, go for the risk it all move and go for Brock and get to something better than Brock Purdy, because I do think that you don't have to do a whole lot to get a little bit better than Brock Purdy, but you do need to make a significant jump to get him. I know Kirk Cousins is a free agent this offseason. Could that matchup still happen between Shanahan and Kirk and all that? That's going to be a question decided.
Is Kirk going to get you over the hump, though? Like, Kirk is probably the best game managing quarterback in the NFL. Like, I think maybe I'm missing somebody, but like in that stereotype of game managers, Kirk Cousins is the best. But in today's league, bro, you're not going to win with a game manager.
Yeah,
like, when are we going to learn guys like Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Mac Jones, that these guys aren't worth their picks, because at best you're getting a top 15-ish offense. At worst, you're just getting not a good quarterback. Like, I don't get the game manager hype anymore at this point.
Yeah.
There's no point.
So it's really when it comes down to that too, it's just, Kirk's also coming off of a torn Achilles, right? Yeah, torn Achilles, I think. Yeah, torn. And
35. I don't think they have. I think their free agency is pretty dim, guys. I think their money. I had to check their money, but I'm pretty sure San Fran's pretty low on money this year to sign Kirk.
Yeah.
Bad thing is you can't get rid of your current quarterback to free up money, because you're gonna get like $600K, so you're not signing Kirk off that.
Yeah, I don't know where they're gonna get money to bring back.
You can always restructure and stuff. I mean, they're gonna lose some people this offseason too. I gotta check their free agents.
It's like Chase Young, Major League, Chase Young, Brandon Ayuk. I can't remember who else, but I think it's just majority of those guys. But
Ayuk is a free agent this year, is he?
With all
next year.
This year.
Next year.
I could have sworn I seen something on TikTok.
So he has 1 year left. So looking at the free agents, so they have Randy Gregory. I didn't even really sign Randy Gregory. I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's there.
He was good like 2 years ago in Dallas. Chase Young, Sam Darnold, Javon Kinlaw. Actually, they don't have that many big guys. Yeah, a lot of these guys are kind of backups and stuff. Jawan Jennings is a free agent, who I think is going to get a little bit of money in free agency because he had a really good run.
Might be more accurate than their real quarterback, dude. Shoot, I've seen Jawan Jennings throw like 2-3 touchdowns.
Crazy thing is he was the highest ranked quarterback out of high school in the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a higher ranked high school quarterback than Mahomes. Crazy.
Now, talking in a hypothetical world, does Jawan Jennings win Super Bowl MVP after that game?
So, probably not. Yeah. To be honest with you, should he have? Yeah, but CMC would have got it.
Now, the final question before we do move on from the San Francisco 49ers is whatever you want to call it. Does Brock Purdy get a bag? And does Brock Purdy get a max?
A max? Hell no.
I mean, I'd hope not.
Who's going to pay him a max?
What else are they going to do? Who's another quarterback they legitimately can go and get right now?
Well, to be fair, Brock Purdy still has 2 years left on his deal. So let's not act like it's the next 2 years could give him
nothing with him, honestly, right now.
Yeah, but like the next 2 years, like he could be garbage. Like let's not act like
really the 7th round. I do. So the reason why I did ask that question is because I probably should have did a little more research. That's on me. I did not know that 7th rounders got a full 4-year deal.
Yeah, any guy in the draft does, unless you're UDFA.
Shit, man. Well, then
so I mean, his is fully guaranteed, but he got 2 years left.
That's a good question too. What is a bag in Brock Purdy's terms?
I think a bag. I mean, if he can get the 30, I mean, I think that'd be a bag for him.
I think what Ryan Tannehill got is a bag for Brock.
Got a bag, so let's give Brock Purdy a bag.
Yeah, I think for what we're talking about, I think that what Ryan Tannehill got maybe could be something Brock Purdy can get when Tannehill got like that $25 million a year, $30 million a year kind of thing. But I don't know, dude. I mean, with Brock Purdy under your quarterback as a quarterback, you've gone to an NFC championship and you've gone to a Super Bowl. So it's like you're stupid not to pay him, but at the same time, you want to get better. But the problem is how are you going to get better?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can. I think you're in that tough. They're just in a tough spot right now. They might have to roll with Purdy. And I don't even know if that's going to be the right thing to do. But, enough talk with that. We're going to still stay in the NFL, guys. We will still be staying in the NFL for a little bit. Now we're going to be discussing We're going to be talking about some of early predictions for next year. Now, going off of a lot of stuff, obviously we all see stuff all over Instagram. One thing's for sure that it kind of opened my eyes a little bit is I saw that CJ Stroud has the 4th best odds for MVP.
I don't think is that surprising?
Not surprising at all. It was a little bit of an eye opener, a little bit at first. Now, do you think that CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans have a shot to make the AFC Championship game next year if they build the right pieces? And what pieces do they have to go out and get to make the Texans that kind of a caliber team per se?
So, I mean, to answer both questions. Okay, so can the Texans realistically make the AFC Championship? Of course they can. Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw Jacksonville in the AFC Championship a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And they weren't a very good team. So, I mean, they were, but you know what I mean? So can they? Absolutely. I mean, any team can. I think the pieces wise, you're in a good spot with Houston, obviously, because you have realistically 4 more years of Stroud. You're gonna give him the 5th year option, assuming he stays to a competent level, which we're gonna assume Stroud is. Right. I don't see a major fall off for Stroud anytime soon. Mm-hmm. I would say pieces, right? You could try to get an alpha wide receiver 1, but Nico Collins looks good, man, and he's cheap right now. Tank Dell's coming back. I think a piece that kind of got mocked, I think by PFF, was Saquon. That would be interesting. Just to get another piece out of the backfield that kind of draws something.
Yeah, I've seen PFF put a lot out there. They said that Texans is a nice spot for him.
Other than Saquon and an alpha receiver, man, I think it's just building out that defense. You got to get the defense playing at an elite level. You have DeMeco Ryans, who's going to coach them to an elite level. It's just about making sure they have the pieces to do so. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's just development. Hopefully, Bobby Slowick is a bit better this year. I know people praised him, but like when you look at the real numbers, like he was really high in run pass rate and stuff like that. So it's just like let Stroud do his thing. Other than that, though, I think they're going to be a good team next year. I don't see a fall off for them.
Right. So, Chris, you're next. I'm going to give you Dicey a little question too. When looking now, Patrick Mahomes, has obviously been successful in the NFL, no doubt about that. But There have only been 2 quarterbacks to beat Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady and the other one being Joe Burrow. Can Joe Burrow this year, not this year, next year, bring the Lombardi to Cincinnati?
Nah. Just I feel like simply not that Joe Burrow bad. He's still a great quarterback.
Stick around. We'll still be talking about. We'll talk about draft later on tonight. Sorry, continue.
All right, bet. Nah, like I said, Joe Burrow, not bad. The Bengals haven't got so much worse. I just feel like all the other teams around got much better, and the Bengals not finna compete with the other teams now.
Right,
they had their chance and they kind of like squandered it. So,
yeah. And obviously, last team, Bears Super Bowl. I don't know about that. To talk real quick, I think this is another team that I think this team had their best opportunity to get to the Super Bowl this year, in my opinion, is the Buffalo Bills. And I only say big opportunity in the fact of they had home field advantage. They came back after being 6-6, came back, went 11-6, took the division, then went into who came to them first? The Steelers. I don't even call that a playoff. Yeah. That's a week 19 NFL game to me.
Oh, Pittsburgh was a good team this year.
Yeah. And then you come in, and then Mahomes. First time Mahomes comes in into Buffalo, and it seems like everything's going right for Allen. They're kicking a field goal, whiffed it, game over. What does Josh Allen and Buffalo have to do to get over that hump? And I know I use the word hump a lot, but there's a lot of teams in this NFL right now that are in a major hump and that they need to get over it. So what does Buffalo have to do it?
So to be go ahead.
I was just gonna say same thing like I said about the 49ers, bro. They just can't run into Mahomes no more, bro. It's simple, bro. They gonna get as far as they can go as long as they don't run into Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills, though, is just like it's really tough because it's like they always so close to getting them, but it's just like you really can't run into Mahomes. Like it's like Josh Allen's really good, but Mahomes better. So it's just like at the end of the day, and it's like it's hard to be like, dang, because Mahomes always gonna be there. But it's just like because Mahomes got Mahomes only what 27.
Yeah,
like so he got a lot more years left. So I don't know. The Bills have a really good team. They just what I'm saying, they in the wrong era, bro. You feel me? Like
I think for Buffalo, I think the problem offensively is that for when I see it, the problem with them offensively is that they this year they fixed their last year problem with not establishing a more of an efficient run. I think this year their issue is maybe not having enough receivers to get Allen to succeed. You don't think that is, Dylan? No. See, for me, it's just when they establish the run game, they establish it when they want to. They don't force it. Like they can't just hand the ball to James Cook 30 times a game, 25 times a game, and get them out of a whatever. And I feel like their best opportunity was this year. I know people say, that's the one year that they went in and they lost to Mahomes and Burrow and I almost said Burrowhead and Arrowhead. And I think too defensively, when you're looking at it, man, like I think it's time they need to give up on Tre'Davious White. And it's not anything personal with him, but it's just that he just gets too injury prone. It's Dylan, it's to the point now where he gets injured, I think, too many times for me to sit there and be like, oh, he's my number one corner, but like my number one corner is either always hurt in the playoffs or he's hurt during the season. And then in the playoffs, he gets hurt again. And it's like, I just haven't seen Tre'Davious White that much. And I know the injuries have taken him out of taken him out, but but that's just my opinion.
So I should have a pretty big opinion on everything here. So with the first start off with Tre'Davious White, right? I think that opinion, I have to look at the numbers. I think it's just kind of I don't think a lazy is the right term. Just kind of I think it's just like a quick thing to say, just to be like, oh, just get rid of Tre'Davious White. They've tried to replace Trey White, and unfortunately, they just haven't had that. Let's not forget, they just drafted a first-round corner 2 years ago. They've had good players. I just think when you look at it as a whole, right, it's not like, oh, they can just cut Tre'Davious. You got to look at the contract. You got to look at a lot of things with that. So like they've tried to put talent at their corner spot. Unfortunately, with Kyer Elam, he didn't play good. So you can't say, oh, we're going to cut an all-pro corner because a rookie that we drafted to replace him has been garbage. So that's why I'm like kind of struggling with that. Yeah. Buffalo as a whole, I said this earlier, I think McDermott should have been fired. It's different than Shanahan. I think when you look at like every Buffalo game we've seen, other than maybe a few playoff games, like against KC, both times, like usually Allen plays well, the defense plays pretty good. I just feel like it's been consistent that Sean McDermott has gotten out coached by Andy Reid. I haven't had a time recently where I've been like, okay, Kyle Shanahan just got out coached. I don't think he got out coached Super Bowl. I just think his offense was bad. Yeah. Sean McDermott's been getting out coached for a few years. And I think Buffalo and the whole NFL is on the same plateau we were with Brady. Is you can be as good as you want, man, but you just don't have that quarterback. You don't have the quarterback to beat Mahomes. It feels exactly like Brady and Manning, dude, because Allen may get a ring eventually, right? Or Burrow may get a ring eventually. And we're going to sit there and say, oh, maybe one day they're going to ring. But unfortunately for right now, until Mahomes gets hurt and they miss the playoffs, or Mahomes, they just for some reason have like a 7-win season, which the bad thing now is it seems like even when KC's roster is garbage, they still go into the playoffs. Right. And the division being weak hurts them or helps them for that. Now, hopefully with the Chargers probably being a pretty good team next year, I would imagine, with Harbaugh, I think Harbaugh's going to bring something to him. Maybe they won't. Maybe it'll be the same thing as the Broncos. But with that, hopefully they'll have to win the division every year to make it. But it's just you're on the plateau of you just don't have Mahomes, and that's just where you're at right now, and that's where the whole NFL is at right now. If you're in the AFC.
Right. Yeah. So with Mahomes, I think all this football talk, man. I think it's time to take a little bit of a pause. I think no, you don't want to pause, Dylan. We're gonna pause. We're gonna pause into something different because I feel like after a very long time. Well, not a long time, but since I've known the two of you, I've known Dylan for a while, not Chris. I haven't been able to talk a little shit when it comes to basketball because, the Thunder have been ass.
The Thunder are still ass, but go ahead.
Your team's at the bottom of the fucking West. I don't want to hear it.
My team's completely injured. I appreciate that.
Three shits. Anyway, so we're moving on to the NBA. Now, we are currently at the All-Star break, with one team in the West sitting at the top that I don't think anybody expected, and obviously a team in the East. So I'm going to just ask Dylan or Chris, which one do you want to start off with, the East or the West?
West is the best division. So West.
Okay. So obviously we all know number one right now is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know how that happened. I'm going to let Chris talk about it a little bit. I don't know how much Chris has watched the Timberwolves, but let's hear it.
Nobody's watching Timberwolves basketball.
I'm not going to lie. Honestly, I think if people were like, I feel like if I was more in depth, I would have known that the Timberwolves was going to be a better team. I was kind of just hating. I'm not going to lie. They the Timberwolves. I probably was just hating on them before the season started just because they're the Timberwolves. But I'm pretty sure that like actual NBA analysts knew the Timberwolves had a great chance. Because before the season started, there was plenty preseason rankings that had the Timberwolves at the top of the West. And I was like, it's the Timberwolves though. Mm-hmm. I didn't really expect them to do that. But the Timberwolves really do have some great players all around. Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. Like they have a great player. So I'm not. It really not that. It's not really that shocking that they at the top of the West. Honestly, people were just hating just because they're the Timberwolves, bro. Just like people did the Thunder.
So I remember last year when they traded for. Or was it last year? Whenever they got Gobert, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
I remember they were saying, "Oh, they're gonna be good right off the bat," but then they kind of sucked right off the bat.
Right.
I kind of view them the same way. I think they'll be a good regular season team. That's what I said whenever we talked about it. I think we talked about it on a show. I said I think the Timberwolves will be a good team in the regular season. I do think this team's not going to win the playoffs. I don't think they're constructed to. It's just not a team constructed to win the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Now, Ant's a star. Obviously, we know that. And you have other really good pieces. But I just think in the playoffs they're going to struggle. But, I mean, they're a really good regular season team. And I think that's what I expected this team to be roster-wise with the guys they have. So that's where I'd put them. I still think they're just going to not win in the playoffs. But they'll get the record for sure.
So now moving on to number 2 in the West. Yours truly, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I remember at the beginning of the season, I said that the Oklahoma City Thunder were going to finish as a top 6 seed in the West. I did say this, and I was brutally laughed at. I think I got called. Dylan tells me I have no sports knowledge because of this.
You don't.
Chris said I was an idiot, and it's just like here we are now at the All-Star break, and they're number 2. So
Right. Let's explain this to the people that's watching it don't understand. If y'all really want to understand this, Nico, his sports knowledge is kind of, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, for the thing is, Nico was more just hoping that they were a top 6 seed, and it happened to happen. Yeah. It wasn't that he knew definitively that they were going to be a top 6 seed, but they have had a great season. They have a lot of talent that we probably underlooked on their team just because they were the Thunder. I will admit that we probably just gave them a shoulder shrug just because it was Nico's team, but for the most part, Nico did not probably see this coming himself.
I did. I envisioned it. I literally said I've had multiple. I literally said over the summer, I was like, dude, watch the Thunder. They're gonna be a top 6 seed, and here they are now. So Dylan, what do you got to say?
So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've been stalking the NBA sometimes, but here's what I will say, right? And I think it's clear when you look at the rankings, you look at the wins, you look at the losses. It took the West being the weakest the West has been in a few years for the OKC Thunder to be a good team in the West.
Here you go. You got to just diminish.
Let's be for real, though. Let's be for real. It took a time where the Grizzlies, who were always a top 3 seed, are completely depleted and injured. I mean, let's be for real. That's not like they're super injured.
They have one time.
They have 18 wins. Golden State, who's usually always a really good team, having a rough year this year. Denver's having a little bit of a rough year. So, I mean, you're looking at all these teams that are always top 3 seeds, and they've all been bad. When we have a West that the top 2 seeds are Minnesota and OKC, bro, you know it's weak. You know it's weak.
Facts, though.
Like, it took the West being garbage this year. Or not garbage. It took the West being pretty bad this year for OKC to actually do something. That's like, right. Also, like a team like Sacramento, who was really good last year, it's not like they haven't been kind of bad this year. West, I think, is the more fun conference, but this year's they've been pretty bad. Let's be for real. Like, let's be honest.
I'm not going. I feel like the West are the better conference, though, bro. What, like, if you really look at the records, though, come on.
Yeah,
I think the West is it's in it. I think personally the West it's in its kind of.
I don't know why you're saying what with 5 question marks. I just explained what I said.
I think the West is in its fading years of kind of being good. Like obviously there's a lot of these aging stars on the like Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, LeBron, AD. They're all getting up there in age, and it's just now it's starting to kind of fade, and you can see the East. Sure. The East is rising up a little bit to be better. I'd still take the West. Overall, just on the Thunder season alone, it's been a shocking season. I'll actually cut the shit. And I did say that they were gonna be a top 6 seed, but that's just was a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
I also said MSU was gonna be a top 3 team in the country, and they're not even ranked. But it's just really if they can keep it up going during postseason. It's really about it. If they can, it really depends on the matchup too. And
I mean, they got a squad for sure, right? I don't just anything like it's not me saying, "Oh, OKC's garbage" or something like that. I'm joking when I say that shit. Now, do I think the West is having a down year? For sure. I think you look at the records; it shows that. And I do think the West is the deeper division. That's why I'm saying the West is the better division. But right now, the West is having a down year. But even if you look at the records, like the West is still better than the East right now.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like one of the last seeds in the East would be like a bottom tier play-in team, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
So now moving on now to a big question here, and obviously this is kind of a question. So, what is gonna happen in May when you're sitting there and you see the Lakers and all that in the play-in and Golden State? Because there's a good chance that LA and Golden State make the play-in. Do you think they upset one of the 1 or the 2 seeds, or does time catch up to both of them?
The Lakers?
Yeah, the
Lakers definitely not. This is why, bro. The Lakers do this every time. Now, they have LeBron James, but for the rest of the team, come on, bro. Anthony Davis, cool too. The rest of them trash, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The Lakers are a disappointment every season. They pick up all these. They had the best free agency every year and still trash. I don't think there's a chance that the Lakers upset the 1 seed, even if they have so much veteran experience over the 1 seed, because all the teams that's at the top of the West are younger teams, but I still don't see it, bro. They just gonna run around the Lakers, but the Lakers are not good. As for the Warriors, now I could be biased here, but I really do still like the Warriors roster, bro. You got Jonathan Kuminga, Tracy Jackson Davis comes in. Brandon Pozinski. You still got Stephen Curry. Klay Thompson's trash, but hey, look, even Klay Thompson can come in and make some clutch threes. I promise you. Draymond Green fired up. I really do think that this Warriors team, bro. I wouldn't say that they can like win anything, but I would not be surprised if they snuck in and actually won a series, bro. I wouldn't be surprised.
So let's talk one last thing before we move on to the East.
You want to?
I'm sorry. I'm minding.
Real quick.
I didn't see your hand go up. That's on me,
bro. Okay, so real quick, right? Lakers, they ain't doing shit, bro. Let's be for real. I'm agreeing with what Chris said on this, bro. Lakers ain't doing shit. I'm pretty much gonna agree with him. I think the Warriors at this point. Can you not make it full screen, bro? Like zoom that shit back.
It's for the Instagram. It's for the Instagram.
So I don't like it being that close, bro. It's all up here. So the Warriors, right? I think the Warriors. Well, the Warriors are not winning a ring this year, or anything crazy like that. Could the Warriors have a competitive series with the team and possibly sneak a win? For sure. There's that type of team. Like Curry's still Curry. Klay in the playoffs in Game 6 is still going to give you something. Let's be for real. Like, let's not act like it's been like 2 years since Klay dropped like 40 in a Game 6.
I just really felt like that was a target towards somebody.
Bro, he did that on me. Bro, Klay did that to us.
He did it to us first, buddy. That's where it all fucking started.
Nobody cares about OKC.
Fuck you, Chris. Fuck you laughing for, dude. Shut up.
Yeah, that's real. So I think OKC, or not OKC, I think if Golden State gets in the playoffs, they could definitely make a competitive series. They could definitely maybe knock somebody off. It's not going to be like if they're facing the 1 seed, obviously I don't see that. But if they get in and they sneak against something crazy, I could see it. I mean, they're just they still have just good pieces that could sneak up on you. Someone's going to underestimate them, get a few wins, but ain't nobody letting you join, Preston. Come on now. But yeah, so like I could see Golden State be competitive. I think if LA gets in the playoffs, man, they going out in 5. Maybe they get a LeBron treatment and go out in 6. Yeah.
All right, so last question before we move on to these. So Chris, honest question. If it's somehow I'm letting you know that I do pray for this to happen. I've told you this multiple times. If Golden State and OKC played in a playoff series,
why would you pray for that?
Personal reasons. If who wins that playoff series? And be honest.
Hey, everybody in the comments, who y'all got? Golden State versus Warriors if they was in a playoff series.
Golden State versus the Warriors.
Even OKC, bro. Come on.
All bias aside, bro, the Golden State Warriors will beat OKC in a playoff series. And here's why, bro. If you watch every OKC versus Golden State game, bro, the Warriors, bro, every time the OKC has beat the Warriors this season, it has come off of some like last second stuff, bro. And they have so much more. Like it's always been last second wins with them. Like, bro, they not good. Every win, bro, been last second, honestly, bro. And I really do believe that some of those games could have easily went the other way. So it's like it's hard to say straight up OKC will win, bro.
So I don't want to say Golden State could win. What I could say though is I think one of the teams Golden State would be OKC. I think I'm not saying they would. I wouldn't predict them to.
Dude, John Morant could get traded to the Thunder, and
what I could see happening, like genuinely, what I could see happening is OKC gets down 0-2 because they slept on them coming in, and this really young team is going to get rattled, and they could lose in 6. Let's be for real. They could get rattled.
I promise you, I'm not just saying this because I like Golden State, bro, and I like Steph Curry. I genuinely feel like if the Golden State Warriors got a chance against OKC, they could win a series. But I genuinely,
I think
it's kind of the same situation as the Kings situation last year. But obviously y'all more talented than the Kings. But like, bro, it's almost the same situation.
I just think when you look at it and you're saying, you know, OKC, they're just such a young team versus Golden State, who's just been there, right? Are they out of their dynasty prime? For sure. But they've just been there. Like these coaches, these players, they've been to that level in the playoffs, and they know how to win series. Let's be for real.
So, to give my 2 cents,
we know what you're going to say.
I think that OKC would fucking whoop you in 5, and I think it's 5 games, gentleman's sweep, and I think OKC moves on to the next round. And what fucking sucks is that this is recorded now. So if we're back now 4 months later, and it's reversed.
See, it looks worse on you because if Chris says it and it goes wrong, it doesn't really matter. But if you say it and it goes wrong, it's really funny.
Yo, fuck you, Dylan. Dude.
I guess OKC wins in 5?
I don't know. I just see OKC winning in 5. I think the Warriors' time is caught up to them.
If they come out right, sure. I understand. I could see him just getting a little bit.
Nah, bro. I mean, yeah.
Because fuck else am I gonna say now, dude? Like it's just too.
They're just gonna be competitive.
The Warriors at least getting 2 games off in the series.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, now moving on, Dylan, you get to be happy now because we're moving back to football. No, we're back. Oh no. We're moving on to. You want to move on to the East or fuck the East? Because all of our teams are in the West.
Fuck the East, bro.
All right, yeah, fuck the
East, bro.
Anyway, like whoever coming out the East is probably.
Talk about Detroit real quick. What the fuck?
Nah, we'll touch on the East real quick because we did show love to the West. So East, obviously number 1, Boston. Who else would have thought? Probably the deepest team in the league. And then deepest team. I mean, they're
probably.
deep.
No, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, probably.
Oh,
hey, you gotta wait a minute. Nico don't want to talk about football.
Yeah, no, my bad. Give me 2 seconds. We'll talk about football. Let me see. Milwaukee Cavaliers have been really bouncing it back up a little bit too, and I was so scared. I don't know basketball. Well, I get told the same thing, dude. So don't worry.
And we right when we tell you that.
Yeah. What else? Cavs are hot. Knicks are hot. Sixers are probably gonna get taken out in the first with no Embiid.
Yeah.
And then we'll just see Boston versus like Miami.
We'll see Boston versus Miami or some shit in the East Conference Finals. And then whoever's going to win is going to go to like 6 with the guy who comes out of the West.
Yeah.
Unless it's somebody stupid like Minnesota or OKC, and then they're probably going to win.
Right. So We can either talk about the draft or we can talk about head coaches. What do you want to talk about?
Talk about head coaches, man.
All right, since there's a fucking longer list.
Yippee.
Okay, so so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna list off all the head coaching hires that did happen. And I know I might be, if I'm missing any, Dylan or Chris, let me know.
I can't wait for Dan Quinn talk, bro. It's going to be crazy.
We're not going to talk. We'll talk about it, but not that much. So Raheem Morris went to the Falcons. Jim Harbaugh went to the Chargers. Dan Quinn went to the Commanders. I may get his name. Is it Bryce Callahan went to the Titans?
Brian Callahan.
Brian Callahan, my bad. Mike McDonald went to Seattle. Gerard Mayo went to New England. Antonio Pierce, I guess you could say that is a head coaching signing since he was the interim head coach. So, yeah, he went to the Raiders. Cliff Kingsbury went offensive coordinator of the Commanders. No Belichick, no Mike Vrabel still. Mm-hmm. Arthur Smith to the OC to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dave, I'm going to just say Dave Canals or whatever the hell you pronounce his name. Canales? Yeah, same thing. Went to the Panthers. Eagles got Kellen Moore and as the OC and Vic Fangio as the DC. So, what do you guys want to talk about first? I vote we just talk about the Dan Quinn thing now, get it out of the way, and then
you want to do that?
Yeah. So Chris, as the Commander fan, go.
All right. Obviously, as a Commanders fan, I speak for all of us. Obviously, he wasn't our number 1 pick. You feel me? He probably wasn't even our number 2 pick or 3 pick. But he is our head coach, and nigga, no matter what you want to say, you have to deal with it, bro. So let me tell y'all some things to make y'all feel better. Now, if we was talking about this the first week of the signing, you probably would be mad. I'll probably be a little bit more like unoptimistic, but you got to be more optimistic. The team he's building, like the coaching staff he's building, is really, really good. I really do like it. I really do like the staff he's building. He brought in Anthony Lynn for the running game. He's brought in Brian. What's the dude from the Eagles? Johnson.
Brian Johnson, yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury. He's brought in a lot of guys. I really do like the team that he's putting together. Also, you still have a guy that brought a team to a Super Bowl, and you could say Ron Rivera did the same thing. I know that it doesn't mean much, but like, bro, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, bro. They make the hires for a reason. We're just fans, so you got to give them the benefit of the doubt until it goes wrong. And then it has another thing. I seen this on Twitter somewhere. There is a lot of head coaches that failed the first time and came back with a better head coaching the second time, job the second time. Like Bill Belichick didn't succeed as the Browns head coach.
Yeah.
So, it's always a chance that he goes off this time. So you got to give him a chance at least, bro, before you just, you know what I'm saying?
Nico, you want to go ahead before I say my piece?
Yeah, I'll do it. So Dan Quinn, obviously, like kind of a lot of what Chris said is, we can sit here and bitch and moan all day, or we just have to learn to accept the fact. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me a minute to really understand and really take it in. But then when he starts hiring the people he had around him, it made me feel a lot better. You know, getting Johnson from Philly, getting Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt, who was it Joe Witt, Chris? Yeah, Joe Witt. That's the DC's name, Joe Witt.
DC.
Yeah. Getting him, he was one of the more highly regarded guys coming out of the in the DC spot, I guess. Getting Anthony Lynn today was a really good signing for the run game to help out with Brian Robinson and whoever our running backs are going to be next. Because I know Gibson might leave, might stay. The team he built around is really good. I think getting Cliff Kingsbury was probably the top hire that I found more amusing than the rest, just for the fact that, you know, there's that chance that, you know, that Caleb Williams comes to Washington. So there's a little optimism there. I still give it a C, the Dan Quinn hire, but I think everything he's built around him, I give it like a B+ for the whole entire staff, just for what he's built around, like a B+. Obviously what happens next, I don't know, but as of right now, yeah, welcome Dan Quinn, I guess.
Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, like Nico's saying, look, it's really all about what happens next. Now you just have to wait and see what happens next, and that's just all it is to it, bro.
Hopefully we don't get a Chris reaction next time that says what is a Forbes and you know, he gets all upset, throws his jersey, and we draft, you know, Drake May, because I think Drake May would get you to doing that, wouldn't he?
Probably.
Probably. All right. So Dylan, Dan Quinn, what's up?
Boy, oh boy. Okay. So overall, first thing, let's talk about the positives, right? Coaching staff he's hired, I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest Cliff Kingsbury fan, to be honest with you. I'm just not. Even in college, I just didn't think he was that good. I wasn't a big EB fan either, though, so I get it. I think I still would have kept EB over Cliff Kingsbury, to be honest with you. I've been very critical of EB, but I just think it made more sense. I don't think giving EB what you gave him last year with that head coach was the right move. I'm not a fan of signing defensive coaches in today's NFL. The reason I say that is because realistically, when you talk about offensive coordinator, and you guys have been through this, I've been through this, a lot of guys with defensive coaches have done this, is at worst, you have a Scott Turner and your offense is really bad because you guys can't coach. At best, you have a really good offensive coordinator. Like we had Arthur Smith, who was really good for a little bit, and then he gets hired a year after he's really good. And these guys are just going up so quick, and especially with a guy who's just a bit older. If it was like a Mike McDonald, I could see it just because he's really young. Dan Quinn's kind of up there in age, man. So I don't love it for that aspect of it. Eric, okay, buddy. Okay. So I don't love that. But I don't think it's a bad hire. I'd probably give it a C overall. Like, not a bad hire. It sucks for Dan because he has to know at this point. He wasn't your guys' choice, right? You guys wanted Ben Johnson. You guys probably wanted Mike McDonald. It seems like you guys wanted Mike McDonald over him too. So I mean, it is what it is. You landed with who you landed with. It sucks because a lot of guys had Washington as the best landing spot in the NFL for a new head coach, and it sucks that you guys got the 8th guy to go off the board because you guys holding out for one. I mean, you had a team like Seattle who held out for McDonald and it panned out. You guys got the opposite side where you held out for Ben Johnson, didn't work out. But regardless, the positive of this is even if Dan Quinn is another Ron Rivera, right? You guys won 7 games 3 years in a row. I think you guys had a brilliant GM hire, which is going to help. Because I think any coach that's mediocre like Ron Rivera was, really good teams can booster him and can kind of not carry him, but can help him do what he does. Right. And for Dan Quinn, I think that could be a similar thing if he doesn't pan out to be a really good head coach. Mm-hmm. At worst, if you guys keep on building the roster, it could be great. But it seems like Dan Quinn's going to be a decent coach. I think he's going to be better than Rivera. I just don't love hiring an older defensive coach at this point in the
NFL. Right. All right. So now moving on. We'll move on to your guy, Mr. Callahan. Okay. Let's hear what you think. Obviously, you're the Titan fan, so we'll let you go first.
So I think the first reaction to firing Vrabel, I was a little bit disappointed because I did think the roster was depleted. Now, I think when I was disappointed at first, the more you hear come out, the more I understand why Vrabel was fired, and the more it kind of paints a better picture for why he was fired. Brian Callahan's an interesting hire for me. I actually really started to get high on him later into the process when I started hearing about him. Obviously, when everyone was going into the head coaching cycle, they're saying, Brian Johnson, Bobby Slowick are the two guys we want on offense. That's it. What?
Oh, no, you go.
Oh, I thought Chris was saying something to me. So I was a bit kind of iffy. I started hearing about him, and I was like, okay, maybe I could get into him. And then you start hearing all the other stuff about him, about how he's a really good guy in the locker room. But there's the big one, which he doesn't call plays. He never called plays. He does call plays. He just didn't do it in Cincinnati. Dylan, you know these? Yeah, so they were true. I mean, it's come out they were true. Our owner talked about it. Our GM hinted about it as well. So I mean, I would say they're true, especially when the owner specifically after firing Vrabel said we want a coach who's collaborative with other guys. And immediately after they fired Vrabel, they promoted the GM to a higher role. So I would pretty much confirm they were true. But back to Callahan real quick. There is positives. I think he's built an amazing staff. He brought in his dad from Cleveland, which is one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. Really good hire for how bad our offensive line has been. Now he is calling plays, so I'm curious how that's going to work. Just because he hasn't done it in Cincinnati, so we don't. I mean, he helped build that offense, but he didn't call plays. That's big. But one hire that I did like is he also brought in Denard Wilson, the DB coach from Baltimore, who's previously with Philly. And both years he was there, they had the number 1 ranked pass defense. So I'm excited for the staff he's brought in. Again, you don't know until you suck or you're good. But I mean, that's it. I mean, you don't know with coaches. The roster has to be there. It seems like the owner's behind him, so maybe he'll have a bit of a leash, but that's about it.
So going in on Callahan real quick, like I said, I honestly didn't even know that he was a candidate for really a head coaching job. Yeah, I didn't see it. He wasn't under Washington's radar. He wasn't a guy we were interviewing, so I just didn't pay the attention to it.
Got hired quick too.
Yeah, what he did in Cincinnati was great. Obviously what he did he was the OC, right? Yeah, he was the OC. Yeah. So what he did there with helping him get to the Super Bowl, making sure that even what he did with the crappy O-line with Joe Burrow and trying to make sure he got the ball out quick enough, or make sure he had that connection with Jamar validated, and all of that was really good. So kind of in the same, I don't want to say same situation, but he's going in now with an offensive line that's a little brutal down in Tennessee. Has a young up and coming quarterback, has a wide receiver. Could have a chance to get a wide receiver like Roma Dunze or Malik Neighbors.
Or Malik Neighbors, who I'd prefer. Malik Neighbors is going to be insane in the NFL.
Yeah. So going off of that, I think if you just give really the pieces he needs, and obviously you're going to lose Derrick Henry, I'm assuming this offseason.
I would assume. I mean, they asked him about it. He said they're probably going to try to bring him back, but I doubt he comes back.
So, just at that point, kind of just like what we said with Dan Quinn, just kind of see what happens next.
Let's go wait,
Chris, anything on Mr. Callahan?
Brian Callahan. I don't really know too much. I know that he was the offensive coordinator the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, but like Dylan said, I didn't know that he didn't really call any plays as much, so I wouldn't have known that. Once you hear offensive coordinator, you just think he's that guy, but that's not always what it means. So I wouldn't know 100%, but I do think that it's definitely a hire to be optimistic about, though. For sure.
So one last thing I'll bring up with Callahan that seems to be the reason he was kind of hired. Number one, I mean, it was his dad. I think his dad coming in is a bonus. Not a reason he was hired, but it's a bonus. But the big one, it seems to be with the quarterbacks he worked with. Obviously, in Cincinnati, he worked with Burrow. Before that, he was a mostly quarterback coach, so he worked with Stafford up in Detroit. He worked with Derek Carr in Vegas or in Oakland, which I know we think about Derek Carr in a bad light, but he had some good years. Like, he wasn't a bad quarterback. And then before that, he was a QB coach for Peyton Manning in Denver, who Peyton Manning was very high on. So it's not like that means he developed Peyton Manning, obviously, but I think it's just helpful when you have a quarterback who seems like the ownership's high on. And Vrabel, by the way, wasn't high on. That's another reason. But you have that. It helps when you're trying to develop a new quarterback to bring in a guy who's worked with so many quarterbacks. But that's really it.
Right. So now moving on, I think I'd say this was the headline name for the offseason. Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers, hiring Greg Roman as the OC. So what do we think about Mr. Harbaugh? I'll go first if you want. We'll move on.
If you want to go first.
So when Jim Harbaugh was being in discussion to come to Washington, Chris wanted it. I didn't. I'm not saying that I'm a fan of Harbaugh. I know Harbaugh has success in the NFL. I think you're coming in and you're putting him in a situation. I think in a good situation. Honestly, this is probably this offensively. That's his best place. He's probably going to get it with Herbert and possibly if Keenan Allen sticks around, maybe.
I mean, at quarterback, yeah, but not as a team.
I mean, offensively,
like
it's
talent-wise, they have quarterback and like
wideouts.
what else? Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, they have talent wide receiver. They're not like stacked. Like, who's their number one guy?
Keenan Allen.
Is he really a number one right now, though?
He had a great year this year. Great year.
I'm saying he's probably a wide receiver too right now. Let's just be for real.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I think Quentin Johnson is a bust. But go ahead.
Yeah. I'd give the hire for him. For that just a B alone, a B plus. Like I said, he's been out of the NFL for a few years, so you don't know how he's going to come and perform in the NFL head coaching wise. The Greg Roman signing, though, just really, really fucking tanks it for me. I don't know. Really? Greg Roman, because Greg Roman, he did not do very well in Baltimore, if I'm mistaken. He was
there in Lamar's MVP year.
Yeah, he was, but I feel like with the reports of how Hollywood Jackson talks about him, I mean not Hollywood Jackson.
Brown,
Hollywood talks about him, Hollywood Brown talks about him, how Lamar talks about him. It seems as if the players just didn't like him. Yeah. But the thing about it is, I really do think it's one of the things, like, he worked with his brother. He brought him along. I feel like the thing about the Harbaughs, once again, he's another guy that's been to a Super Bowl. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt, at least until you see what happens. But the thing is, bro, Harbaughs know how they want to play football. No matter how old they are or how the game may be getting, more and more away from how they like to play football, they know how they want to play football, though. And they want to run the ball. Greg Roman is going to run the ball. So I really do think that he got what he wants there.
Yeah,
so
but they do not have a running back to do that with.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest, it's probably one of the best free agency running back classes you're going to have in a while.
Saquon.
You have Saquon, Henry. I think Mixon may be a free agent. I mean, you have some guys. Mixon may not be, but he may have an option to get out. I heard about a free agency class. I could be wrong.
I don't know if he got I don't know happened with
Saquon, Greg Roman, by the way, Henry and Greg Roman offense would be interesting because I know they wanted him for a while when Roman was there. I think they still do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad draft for him either. Do they have a top? No, but like there's guys sprinkled out like what I've been heard called the belly of like the end of the second round to the seventh round of the draft where you can get a good running back.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, you've seen a lot of guys like Pacheco. I mean, even Eckler was a late pick. I mean, now he kind of sucks, but you've had guys who are late guys that turn out. I'm a fan of the Harbaugh coach or the hire. Sorry. Do I like him for my team? No, I just didn't want an old guy. But I mean, he was really good in the NFL. He was 44-19 with San Fran. He took a 1-11 Stanford team to being a contender in their conference in college. So I mean, like he wins everywhere he goes. True. I mean, the Harbaughs are just winning football coaches, and what you needed with Justin Herbert was a winning football coach. I think it was the best hire they could have got. It was better than Belichick. It was better than Vrabel. But the best thing I liked about Chargers, it seemed like the front office was capable of. They interviewed. I think it was 15 coaches. They are at 7. They interviewed 7 before Harbaugh, then another 7. That I think that's a very good sign of they weren't just saying we're going to go get him. We're going to go for everybody and see what fits us best, and it was him. Mm-hmm. And I think that shows competency in the front office of this could be a very good hire because they didn't just say we want him. We're only going to do one interview. They took their time. They went through the ringer with it, and I think they got a winning football coach who's going to help them win games. They got to build a roster though, for sure.
Yeah. So now moving on, I think we can maybe talk about. You want to talk? How many coaches would y'all like to look into?
I think we can quick run pretty much everyone.
Okay. Yeah. So do y'all want to just grade everybody? We'll grade everyone, and okay. Sure. All right. So let's do it. Raheem Morris to the Falcons. I give it a B minus.
Give it a B.
C.
Fair.
C. All right. Moving on, we did Jim Harbaugh, Dan Quinn, Callahan. Mike McDonald, I say it's a B right now, but
I'd give it an A.
It could be an A later on.
Seahawks hire?
Yeah, I'd give it an
A.
A. Mayo in New England.
Like a D.
Yeah, I'd say like a D.
I just don't see why he's qualified for it. I'd give him a D.
I say D minus.
I'm not gonna say what Dylan just said. That's kind of crazy for me to back up just because. But look, I will say that the higher though, I'm not gonna give it an F just because it's Black History Month though. So I'm just gonna give it a D.
I'm just saying like It was in his contract he'd be the successor of Belichick, though, right? It was in his contract. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a D. Could it be a great hire? Sure. I just put it a D right now. It's just like you hired him. He was the first head coach to be hired. So
the nerve, Dylan. Wow,
he was the first head coach to be hired. You just passed up on better candidates.
Honestly, next one right here, Antonio Pierce. I give it honestly a B because he really fixed.
Give it a B plus.
He fixed that catastrophe.
And players love him, so I give him B plus.
Yeah. I don't think the Raiders could afford to lose another interim head coach that succeeded with them.
No.
Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury to Washington. I know we're doing OCs and DCs and something.
I'd give it a C minus. I still thought EB was better. Or I'd give it a C minus. I thought EB was a better candidate.
I say C plus right now.
C.
Arthur Smith, OC to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Give it a B plus.
Give it a B minus.
Who?
Arthur Smith.
I zoned out. Arthur Smith?
Yeah.
He's the OC? I feel like it's actually, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the way the Steelers try to play football, I actually feel like that's a solid move. I give him a B.
By the way, you skipped a head coach hire, by the way.
I know. It's when I have my list. You talking about the one for the Panthers?
Yeah.
Dave to the Panthers. I'm not even going to butcher his last name. Yeah.
Actually, you guys go because I have some thoughts about this one. So you guys go ahead.
Chris, you go because I need to think about it too because he made Geno and Baker look good, and that's pretty fucking hard to do.
I'm about to get to what you just said because I thought it was the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say.
What?
I said I'm about to get what you just said because that was the stupidest thing I've heard you say.
It's the truth. Chris, so what do we have it?
Nah, I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie. What's his name?
Dave Canales. Tampa Bay OC last year.
I'm not even gonna lie. Look, that's how trash them niggas is, bro. I genuinely forgot that they hired him, bro. I'm not.
Chris probably thought Frank Wright was still the fucking head coach.
Like, I genuinely did not know who he was. Nah, that's I mean, it's just not a good hire though. Like they didn't.
You
even
can
try.
give that an F.
They didn't even try though, bro.
You know, I was watching a show. I think it was a PFF fucking Panthers show, and they were talking about how hard it's going to be because like they had the issue with Brian Johnson last year where they tried to throw money at him, and he said no. And how hard it's going to be to find a coach that wants to coach the Panthers because it's so hi McKenna. It's so documented how bad the owner relationship is in Carolina. It's so documented how bad that roster is in Carolina. Let's not act like Bryce Young played good last year. Could he be good? For sure. I think it makes sense getting a guy who's developed quarterbacks. One thing I will say, bro. Okay, Baker Mayfield is not a bad quarterback. So let's not act like Baker. Like Geno, you could give like, okay, Geno was bad. Baker was good in Cleveland. So like, just be like, oh, he made Baker a good quarterback. That's dumb. That's dumb to me.
Then let me restate it. Mm-hmm. He saved Baker's career.
I wouldn't say. I think you could have plugged in
because dude, Baker was getting thrown around. He got a 1-year deal with Tampa Bay. Everyone said that they should have went and got a quarterback in the offseason.
He went to the worst organization in the NFL in Carolina. That's not his fault. You know, that's not.
I get what you're saying. But.
So I would give it a D regardless. I don't think it was a great hire. You just had to get the scraps of what would take you at this point. Like you just had to get the coach that would take you. And Dave Canales has only been an offensive coordinator, I think, for a year. So like I heard he got thrown around once for Tennessee, and I was like, no, I did research into it. I'm like, I'm good. It doesn't make sense. Now, who knows? Maybe he blew away his interviews. I heard he had some good interviews. He didn't get that many offers. You know, you hear about some of these guys who like you don't talk about the media, but he got a lot of head coaching interviews. Dave Canales had like 2 or 3. I think he just wasn't a big draw of a candidate. But maybe he'll be really good. Who knows? But at the end of the day, like hopefully he can bring some stability there. I just think it's really early for him to be in a really bad situation.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where he's going to really either he's going to turn it around or the team's just going to be shit, but it's not going to really it's not going to really be his fault like at the end of the day. Now, to my favorite DC hire, I didn't even say this earlier, my favorite defensive coordinator hire, Anthony Weaver to the Dolphins. Thoughts on that? I grade honestly. I give that a B+ for the Dolphins. I'm saying that for Anthony Weaver, that's a solid hire for him.
I mean, sure, I'd give it. I mean, I thought it was a fine hire. Like I don't think that was like a hire I was like dying for.
I mean, I'm not dying for it. I'm just saying, like, that's a good hire for him.
I don't think it was the best DC hire of the offseason, but
yeah, I think it's just like a lot of the DC Commanders fans really liked Anthony Weaver. They seen him in the head coaching process, so like a lot of them just put him up there.
Right. I mean, I'd give it. I thought it was. I thought it was a decent hire. I'd give it probably a C. Or maybe a B. Like I just don't think it was. But I'm not the. I don't know the most that much about Anthony Weaver. I just know what I've been told and what I've seen. He wasn't really a candidate for Tennessee at any point. So it wasn't something crazy for me. I mean, but yeah, that's my opinion. I just didn't think it was a crazy hire.
And then lastly, we'll just do the coordinators for the Eagles. OC Kellen Moore.
It's like he's getting passed around though, bro.
He's getting passed around.
He's getting passed around, bro. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the. I was actually a decently big Kellen Moore fan a few years ago. He just hasn't been very good. I mean, he had a lackluster offense last year, and I'm pretty sure he had full play calling duties in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And that offense just wasn't that good. So I mean, I'd give it like a C minus with the potential to go up. Obviously, maybe he's really good, but I don't see it being great because he's going to have full play calling responsibilities anyway with a team that seems to be ready to explode and not in the good way. Like it seems like Philly's almost about to implode on themselves with how it's been recently. So I don't love the hire. I think you should have really got. I think you should have got somebody else for that. But
and then lastly, Vic Fangio.
I mean, I heard that was the guy that they always wanted. So I mean, I'm glad. I mean, not glad. I hate any division rival. But look, I mean, I guess congratulations. They got the guy that they always wanted. They didn't want the one they wanted last. They didn't even want the guy they had last year. They always wanted Vic Fangio. So congratulations. He's a pretty good defensive play caller, but I mean, like we just got to see him, man.
But my thing with that is, it seems like his players hated him, man. Like it seems like his players hated him, and again, I just feel like, and it's more of a Philly talk now. Is Nick Sirianni has let his players kind of run it for a little bit, where he kind of lets all of their egos kind of fly a little bit, and that just it's just what it is. There's a lot of players who have big egos on his team, specifically. I mean, their wide receiver group specifically, but defensively they may be all right. They don't have any big ego guys on defense right now. They just don't. Darius Slay seems to be kind of like their corners seem to be kind of a little bit chiller. Now we've hearing stories. I don't know if you guys saw it. Hearing stories come out today about Jalen Carter and saying some stuff on the field. I don't know if you guys saw that. But I mean, they'll probably be fine. I just keep on hearing that. I think Kellen. In all honesty, I just think Vic Fangio. The last thing you want is your players to hate you. You're just going to cause more stuff to happen. So I'm not a big fan of it. But
now moving on to Dylan's favorite time of the year, because I know we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on this, so I'm going to give them a quick rundown. So Dylan is, I think we can make a compilation of all of our reactions to drafts, and it'll take about a good 5 minutes, a good 5-minute little compilation, because I think we've all gotten pissed off out in here. And I mean,
I've only had it once,
and then it's, we don't got to talk about the rest of it, but the draft is Dylan's favorite time of the year. I mean, the kid look at it. He got his smile went on the face as soon as
I love the draft, man. I'm a big fan.
So on this channel, Dylan's gonna be doing a lot of. Dylan, if you kind of want to explain what you're doing, I don't want to mix what you want. What's up, Chris?
Read Dennis' comment, bro. He glazing.
Dylan is a true ball knower. I'm inspired. That's real. You know what? And I appreciate you saying that, because he means that too. So I mean, I've talked to Nico about it. I'm probably gonna start releasing some film reviews on here. I also start trying to re-up my TikTok again, but that's another conversation for another day. I want to do some film reviews on here. I just really like watching film for players. I like scouting and putting in placements. That's just what I enjoy doing. That's all I've been saying.
Yeah. So what we're gonna start doing too is I kind of had this idea too. What?
Just reading the comments. You call it crazy, I call it love. That's real. That's so real.
So what I was thinking too, Dylan, what we could also do for you too, because I know, guys, Dylan did say he wants to do film reviews on guys, is that maybe we can do, do like polls on Instagram of what y'all want to see Dylan review and all that, to really kind of get involved with you guys, kind of helping him out, making a decision. So we'll do that. So now I'll just put the banner up now. I'm gonna let Dylan talk first, because I can already tell he's too excited. So the banner up now for the NF.
Trying to see who those guys are.
It's hold on, I'll tell you right now.
I see it's Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Drake May, and somebody. I don't know who the middle guy is.
Marvin Harrison Jr. No, Brock Bowers.
Yeah, Bowers. Okay.
Yeah, Bowers. So obviously the number one pick is the fucking Chicago Bears. And of course, those motherfuckers are the one team that decide what everybody else is gonna do.
For sure.
So let's all go through the three scenarios. Okay, I have a scenario what I think they should do. Maybe you guys have three different ones. I'm gonna go first to figure out because this is what I think they should do. All right. No bias either. This is an honest thing.
They're not gonna take a quarterback, I'm assuming.
Just take Marvin Harrison and let everyone else be happy, okay? Think about it like this, okay? Justin Fields has DJ Moore, and that's it, man. Like is Cole Kmet really that good? No. Take Marvin Harrison and give Justin Fields the guy he needs. He needs that 6'4" phenomenal guy out of Ohio State. And I think, in honest to God, it works best because then it gives really Justin Fields a full loaded offense. And the Bears are like pretty high up in salary cap. We're talking about how much money they have and all that stuff. And I think you get Marvin Harrison and you spend the money elsewhere on a line and all that and not have to pay a quarterback big money yet and all that. Because Caleb Williams, let's be honest, Caleb Williams is going to want a lot. Caleb Williams is going to want fucking 25% of the ownership. He's going to have a rookie breaking contract. Why not just have it be like on a team that's not them? You know, they could literally do that anywhere else. That's just my honest opinion of what they honestly should do. I think they should keep Justin Fields because it's not his fault that they're ass. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not. It absolutely isn't. It's not. I mean, watch the film. It's not No, it's not Justin Fields' fault. It's Luke Getsy's fault. Luke Getsy's gone now. Steve Waldron
So unbiased, right? Let's be for real. I think obviously I have no bias to this. I'm just gonna say what I think real quick. So realistically, Nico, I know you're just kind of saying your bias because you want Caleb Williams.
It's not really biasy. It's kind of what I believe too.
So I think it's significant. Number one, if you're Chicago, there is no way in God's green earth you don't take a quarterback at one. I'm sorry. Maybe you trade back, but didn't it already come out they want like an historic package to get up to one because they know Caleb's going to be there?
Yeah.
I mean, but so with my thing with that is Fields has shown some flashes. You're getting an all-world quarterback at one, man. You don't pass on that because you could easily, like we've seen, get a second. I think you can get a second round for Fields. There's a second round pick. There's teams like Pittsburgh, for example, keeps on getting mocked to them, who are not in the range to get a quarterback this year, a good one. So would you rather have Justin Fields for a second round pick, or would you rather get maybe Michael Penix in the early second? You would rather have Justin Fields. Now I think Penix is good, but I don't think Penix is going to be there either. Maybe you get like a JJ McCarthy if he falls. I don't know, like. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody wants possible. That. Now, I think it's more like if we're trying to say, how is Washington going to get Caleb Williams? I think and I'm a big Drake May guy, so this is why I'm about to say this. I think it's more likely Chicago takes May instead of Williams than Chicago takes Marvin Harrison over Caleb Williams at one.
So you're saying that Drake May's got a chance of going number one?
For sure. Of course he does.
See, now I've always agreed with Dylan on a lot of things he said, and this one right here really shows why he knows his true stuff. I'm a quick glaze. I'm not going to glaze you, but
Michael Penix, to answer your question.
Now let me ask you this: if you're in Washington's situation, I hate to bring it about Washington, but realistically, that's really the only.
I mean, it's a good situation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good situation to trade up with. What does that package even look like if you're the Commanders?
I mean, you have to throw in a lot. I think you do everything you can to not throw in players right now. It doesn't even make you like my Michael Penix answer. I'll get to Bo Nix at some point. So I think it's really interesting. I think you should do everything you can not to throw in a good player because, like, you can't be the Bear or you can't be who they trade with last year? Carolina.
The Panthers.
You can't be Carolina and give away. You can't give away your DJ Moore type player if you're Washington, right? You can't trade away Terry McLaurin. I don't like that's. I know Taylor McLaurin's just kind of a shot in the dark, but I just don't think it makes sense. So realistically, I think you try to do everything you can to keep it within picks. If you have to, I mean, I'd be really uncomfortable trading up one spot and giving like 3 first-round picks. It doesn't make sense to me, especially when I'm high on the top 3 quarterbacks. So I would almost rather keep 3 extra first-round picks and get my quarterback 2 than trade 3 first-round picks and get my quarterback 1, who for me are very close. Now, obviously, if you're the GM of Washington and you're saying we think Caleb Williams or whoever your number 1 guy is, because we don't know who their number 1 guy is. I'm assuming it's Caleb because they have Cliff, but you may say we think Caleb is this much better than Drake May, then you trade it. But it really just depends how much they value Caleb over Drake and Jaden Daniels.
Right. So, Chris, I know we were talking about this the other day. Just in a hypothetical world, because here's the thing, is that Jaden Daniels going in a top 3 would be worst case scenario, obviously. But what if, do you see the Commanders trading down at all? Just as a hypothetical. I mean, obviously it'd be stupid, but I mean, it's just talking a hypothetical, because that also is something that could happen also. Not very likely, but something that I guess maybe to educate your opinion on.
Again, bro, it kind of goes with what Dylan said. It really does depend on how high or where they at on Caleb Williams, how high or low they are on the other quarterbacks or any other talent in the draft, bro. Because just because the fans look at it as Caleb Williams or bust doesn't mean they look at it as Caleb Williams or bust. And I think that it's definitely always an option that we trade down. We traded down a lot in the previous draft, so I wouldn't be really surprised, bro. Can't put nothing past them, bro. So.
Yeah. So going in, so obviously, if we're gonna do no trading, no nothing, Caleb Williams, clear cut number 1. Now number 2, you know,
I don't agree with that. But go ahead.
What?
I said I don't agree. The Caleb Williams clear cut number 1. Go ahead.
Not a clear cut number 1, but dude, I mean, that's what his name is right now. Is that number 1? And I don't think anyone's gonna take over
I think
that.
it's really difficult right now to say he's number 1 when we haven't seen the combine. That's one thing that I think is tough. You haven't seen the combine. You haven't seen pro days. You haven't. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that hasn't come out yet for me to be like, oh, he's clear cut number 1. There's just a lot of stuff that hasn't come out yet. Jaden Daniels could run a 4.3, and we're not saying he's number 3 anymore. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's just a lot of stuff in the air right now.
And I have noticed in recent years also that the consensus number 1 pick before the combine, almost 90-some% of the time, is not the number 1 pick later on in the draft.
I mean, you kind of saw it last year.
Couple
now
years.
Bryce Young was definitely a consensus guy, but AR had a really good combine that probably shot his stock up 20 spots.
Oh,
so easily. I mean,
easily. Oh, let's read this real quick. LOL, man, you should see my comments sometimes, dude. Despise Drake May because he attended UNC. Sam Howell ruining the model of a real.
I mean, people love helmet watching. I don't think that's really what it is. I think he's in that boat of some quarterbacks that you just have to, I think, just watch a lot of and try to see a vision for. There's just some guys that pop off the page, and some guys you kind of have to look into. So I think there's like a few guys like that recently that just you have to really, really try to vision them in an offense to be like, okay, I see why he should be a top 2 pick. Versus guys like Caleb that you just watch a few highlights, like, okay, I see it. It's just different.
So Chris, I know that you think I don't know if you said this before, but please quote me if I'm wrong. You said that Drake May is trash. Can I ask you why you think these things? Because I also do agree that he's fucking dog shit. I hate Drake May. I hate him more than life. I would never want Drake May to be on my USFL team. I don't even fucking have one. But if I did, I would not want Drake May there. So, Chris, your reasoning of not liking Drake May.
It's really simple though. I really do. I can see where people could have a vision for Drake May, like the sort of like the Justin Herbert, like how a lot of people didn't like Justin Herbert pre-draft, but Justin Herbert came out just fine. But it's just like, bro, Drake May, he had every time he went against a good defensive school, UNC does not play. I'm an ACC fan. I'm a Clemson fan, so I watch a lot of the UNC games. He played against NC State. They demolished him, bro. Every time he played against a good defense, he got demolished. Clemson made him look like a JV high schooler quarterback, bro. It just was really, really bad when he played big, really top tier defensive schools. But he did ball out against worse defenses, and I feel like a lot of his hype come from every time I see Drake May tweet is more of him throwing a crazy pass against no defense, just randomly in the park or something, bro. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot of those, bro. He's one of those. He got a crazy arm, but other than that, I just don't like how he played against top defenses. I don't think he'll be a great NFL quarterback.
He kind of has that Levis feel to him a little bit. They're different, but he kind of has that same feel of it's like they're gonna do really good against bad defense or against bad defenses and against really good competition. But you have the people who are like, okay, well, his team was worse, which they were. Which watching Levis and trying to transfer it over, because like going back, because I've watched this film again. The thing that I think you have to look at with Drake and with guys like Levis, and you're going to see a ton of them coming out, is where's the ball going? What are they looking at? Like, that's the important stuff. So there is a lot of good clips of Drake May having really good ball placement. And there is a lot of good clips of him going through his progressions. And that's when I think that'll transfer. So, I mean, I'm high on Drake May. I have to really see the combine and watch more film before I decide really quarterback 1, 2, and 3. And then obviously it's kind of a deep quarterback class. So, but I just think Drake May could be a good quarterback in the right system.
So obviously last QB we'll maybe go over real quick before we wrap things up here. Jaden Daniels.
Sure.
I like Jaden Daniels. I think that Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, is the second best quarterback in this draft. Dylan thinks that Drake May has potential chance to be the number 1 quarterback in this draft. What is so significant between Jaden Daniels and Drake May?
So I think you have to look at a few things. I think there's positives for both. Really, the top 5 quarterbacks in this class are all really good, really, really good prospects. The top 3, I think, all have their individual cases for number 1. I know it seems like Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams seems further, or whoever you guys have your 3 is. But I think all 3, unless, I mean, something crazy could happen and we could say, oh, this is why they're number 1.
What the fuck are you doing?
Gotta check out his line. So that's why I'm kind of different on Jaden Daniels. I still have to watch more on him. The base thing I would say about Jaden Daniels and why I like Drake May more is a few things. Drake May is a really big dude. And I do think that a lot of teams right now have bad offensive lines. I want a guy who can take hits. That's one thing. He's a bigger guy with a bigger stature. Secondary, again, like what I was talking about earlier, his ball placement's elite. I think he has better ball placement than Jaden Daniels, which will transfer over. That's just one thing that transfers. You don't just lose ball placement coming in. His arm, I think, is better, which is also something that will transfer over. Not to the same level as ball placement, but it'll move over. His progressions are better as well. Now, you have the athletic aspect. We have athletic aspects with Jaden Daniels, and he's probably the most athletic quarterback we've seen since, I guess, AR, because AR was crazy athletic. But before that, it's like Lamar in 2018. So I like Drake May more because I think he fits into a more conventional offense. With Drake May, I think you could put him in a lot of systems and plug and play him. I just think he just has that type of arm talent that a lot of teams that don't want to run their offense completely through their quarterback and don't want to have to run RPOs and stuff like that could run. But I think Jaden Daniels may have kind of a Lamar arc for a little bit, where the first year or so of his career, hopefully he can land with a team that'll build around him. Because I think you do have to focus on RPOs. You do have to focus on getting out of the pocket for him and making sure he gets confident to the point where he can consistently throw in NFL pockets. Because it's a lot different than, I know SEC ball is there, but SEC ball versus NFL ball, you still can be a bad transfer. So I think that's why I think Drake May just has a better fit in most systems than Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
Dylan, real quick, that question for you.
Off-topic question, but for film reviews, can we suggest any prospect or more known? Any prospect you want. I really like watching late-round guys. So anything you want. If it's a seventh-round pick or a UDFA, just let me know, and I'll do it. But it's whatever you want. If you want to do a top 5 guy or a bottom guy, whatever you want.
Right. All right, Chris, let's hear your thoughts about Jaden Daniels real quick.
Jaden Daniels. I would starting off first off, if we stay at 2, I would definitely be happier taking Jaden Daniels than Drake May. And it's just like, it's really just pick your poison, bro. You're gonna like who you like. I like Jaden Daniels more than Drake May. I may be blind, but look, bro, I just really do like what he brings to the table more than what Drake May brings. I feel like he has a higher ceiling. LSU quarterback, Joe Burrow worked out in the NFL. He's been.
What the
I ain't lying. Hey, look, Dennis. Look, first off, bro. I don't think nobody trying to do no South Dakota players. Bro, I promise you.
If I can find film, man, I'll watch him.
Nah, I'm joking. But look though, yeah, Jaden Daniels, he a nice prospect. I wouldn't be as mad, but I wouldn't be just genuinely happy if we picked him up. That's what I leave it at.
And to finish,
sorry, just to add, I'm pretty sure Isaiah Davis at the Senior Bowl, so I should be able to get film off of him. So go ahead.
So, lastly, before we wrap it up, Jaden Daniels for me is I've done a full page, I think I've sent it to Dylan. I think I wrote down probably a longer page than I do for a homework assignment, but about Jaden Daniels, and I watched his highlights, and I mean the dude is that's what the fuck. When it comes to his physique, I agree with Dylan. It's the problem with that he's very undersized, and that's really the problem. He kind
I
of
would say undersized. He's just.
I mean, he's 6'1". He's like 170 something. I mean, right?
6'1" ain't undersized now. He's just light. He just needs to put on some pounds.
Yeah, I think in the first year he needs to learn to stay in the pocket and not try to. I mean, he can still roll out, but he just needs to be somewhere he can be built around. Kind of what Dylan said. I don't remember what I wrote down really about him, so I'm just kind of going off the top of what I'm saying. But dude, his fucking deep ball is phenomenal. I mean, I've seen the deep ball that he's thrown, and it's honestly it's fucking beautiful. Like I really don't know how else to put it, but when he throws it deep, dude, it's mesmerizing, bro. Like
I just feel like there's been a lot of guys recently who've come out, and I've just had. It just seems like a lot of college quarterbacks at the college level can just throw good deep balls. I'm just be honest with you, like, what are we laughing for? So. I think why you just fall, bro. One thing I'm gonna keep on talking. One thing I think you could point at for Washington, for example, is coming out of the draft, right? Like, remember Sam Howell was like one of the best deep ball throwers that was coming out of the class recently. He was a really good deep ball thrower, and you just see guys. I remember we talked about it, but like Desmond Ridder was also considered to be a really good one coming out too. So I don't think just deep ball throws transfer as well. He does have good touch on deep balls, which is nice. Are you guys making jokes about me saying balls? Is that what this is? I'm confused.
Nah.
We're gonna end the stream. He's gonna talk about.
Daniel's ball is mesmerizing, and I was like,
that was weird. Yeah, I try not to talk about that. That was weird, Nico.
It is mesmerizing.
I hope your girlfriend's still here and she can hear that. I hope your girlfriend's here too.
It's so beautiful.
She probably said the same thing about Justin Fields. All right, it's cool.
She says a lot more things about Justin Fields than me talking about his damn deep ball.
You're whipped, buddy. Go ahead.
Anyways, continue, Dylan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I just think that just saying, he has a really good deep ball. I mean, it's good. I'm gonna stop saying deep ball. I'm saying he has a really good deep throw. And that's good. I just don't think it transfers as well as touching and timing and accuracy. Hey, it was tough, McKenna. I had to skip over a few words. But yes,
I typed it up.
She just blamed you, by the way. I hope you fucking
fuck off. Talk about I typed it, but anyways, continue.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I just think it doesn't transfer as well. But there's things to like about Jaden Daniels. This dude's uber athletic and stuff. So, yeah.
What the?
All right, so that's all I have to say about Jaden Daniels.
All right, so thank you everybody for watching. I think this was a big success, and I think we all did a really, everyone did a great job. Dylan did a great job. Chris did a phenomenal job. Dylan did a phenomenal job also.
Jaden Daniels had a great deep ball as well.
Fuck you, dude.
Mesmerizing you, Nico.
Yeah, so some of these clips will be posted onto the Instagram, guys. So if you guys ever we're gonna keep posting them out there. That's kind of why I was doing this the entire stream, so Chris and Dylan could get their screen time, so I could make sure we could make it look pretty. But damn, everyone.
Dude, saying that in February is crazy. By the way, I just hope you know that.
Command to accept everyone except Chris.
That's crazy. That's insane. Saying that in February is crazy.
All right, so you know what? Thank you guys. I'm gonna put Dylan's stuff down below, his chasing rings, if that's what you're still going by. I don't know.
I guess, yeah. That's my page. I've been on that page in like 6 months.
I think Dylan and the Washington Commanders are gonna go through the same amount of name changes in the same amount of years. 4-man blitz.
I don't think I could go through that many. But go ahead.
Power Reef Gaming,
go off, man. Go off.
And then I'll make sure I put Chris's Twitch links down below for the part-time streaming. He'll be back soon.
Eventually.
Yeah. All right. So everyone have a good night. We shall see you next week.